All right, welcome, Gender and Communication. This video is a brief overview or explanation of the first option for the second research paper. So I pulled up the assignment guide right here to help us think about it. And if you're interested in doing this option, here are some things you could be thinking about, or if you've already selected this option. So you get to pick one of the two options, and then you've already selected the overview of historical events. So in week 7 and week 8, you learn all about these historical events and what you're going to do because the historical events provide us with context for why these communication phenomena exist in the first place, or at least some of the reasons why, okay? And so what you would need to do in this paper is you take a step back, you've learned all about the men's rights, all about the women's rights movements, a little bit about some of the queer rights movements, and then in this paper, the idea is to compare and contrast them. Some of them are call and answer to each other, so you would identify what some of those things are. It's not just informative, like you're going to inform a little bit, but you're going to explain to me how these things are connected, and then you might connect how some of these things relate to how we still experience gender in the modern environment. For example, women historically, until for a long time, were not allowed to own property in a lot of cultures, and women are also not allowed to take up, it's not seen as socially acceptable to take up a lot of space, and power and space are interrelated. So you might talk about that. Reproductive rights, power, space, control over your physical body. Those things can be all connected. And then you can also see some connections. I mean, some of the men's rights movements, if we're going to keep talking about reproductive rights, some of the men's rights movements are very supportive of that, and some of them are a backlash to reproductive rights. So that's what I want you to do. I'm kind of giving you some hints, but there's a lot more stuff that you could talk about. You need to compare and contrast them, and if you read right in here in the assignment guides, it says you've got to talk about queer movements too. You can't just tell one side of the story. You need to talk about more than one thing. And this can be a creative project, so it could be an essay, it could be a report, it could be a timeline, it could be a Prezi, it could be a website, it could be something that you share. It's got to be I would like it to be something you share. It just needs to still have that analytical value to it. So somewhere you got to explain to me so that I understand your thinking. And this can be a pretty interesting and fun way to do this. And if you notice in here, it does say you need to cite your textbook and at least 2 outside sources. So make sure they're high quality. That does mean you're going to need to do a little bit of reading on your own or research. But yeah, this can be a really creative one, and some of the ones, I've seen some really creative work come out of this project, both in my face-to-face version and in my online class, and I thought that they were wonderful, wonderful projects. So if you're interested in the history and in connecting those dots, this is the topic for you.